and that was the reading I did before we released the dove. And I can't remember what I read there. I wish I'd have brought that. It was really neat. But anyway, I got so many. I got a big folder, stacked with readings. But
this really involves a lot of work on your part.
Well, it's work. It's not work to me. It's fun.
Right.
I really enjoy it, and the satisfaction people have, and especially like on funerals, the relief people get from the dove. And the whole ceremony is amazing.
And what it signifies to them.
Exactly. Yeah. And with weddings and even events like this, we showed up to do this. The one teacher there, Miss Schimmel, that really heads this up, she asked me to do it and didn't tell anybody. She wanted them to be surprised. Well, a lot of people there know I'm the bird guy, so they probably thought I was just going to have a bird blessed. And then I go up there and I start reading this poem, holding my basket, and I step over to the podium and I tell them we're going to release this dove to take these blessings to heaven and what it represents. And they were all like, oh, and the dove took off. It was perfect because it flew right out over top everybody and circled a few times, and you get a lot of ooh and ahs.
I'm sure.
That's just a closer picture of my display there, my little doves. And they behave very well. And that's further back, the wedding party up there, and you can kind of see where we had the display down to the right. And again, in any kind of wedding or any event, they can tell me where they want them. And there wasn't a true guest sign-in book here where they got married. So typically you have it near the sign-in, and people come and they sign in, they see the doves. But they wanted it up there where everybody could see them in front of the church there.
All right, Paul, we're coming up on wedding season, June.
Yes.
And do you have a larger demand for your services in June?
I do, especially July and August, which I've already got events. And with us moving, which we have moved from one home to another, it kind of gives me crunch time because I've got birds I'm training at the new location. And unfortunately, I had to turn a couple down because it was in the middle of our move, and I just couldn't do them. And I hate to do that because there's nobody else around here that does them. And the first thing they ask is, who do you recommend? Well, there's nobody to recommend that I know of. I've had a few people call me that want to get into the business, but they usually fizzle out. It's a lot of work.
That brings up another question. You moved.
Yes.
Your doves are used to being at the old residence.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you encourage them to go to a new place?
I cannot do that. So, knowing we were going to move, I sold a bunch of them to other people that breed white birds. I sold them, and then I kept what I felt was the best for breeding stock to raise me good youngsters.
That's good.
And I'll train these youngsters. I have a loft full of them now that I'm getting ready to start training. So, in about a month, they'll be doing pretty good.
You mentioned earlier that a thunderstorm is certainly not going to be a good release time at an event. But how bad can the weather be? I mean, if it's just raining, will you do a release?
If it's just raining, it's not a hard rain, and if it's not far, if it's like a drizzle and doesn't look like it's going to become worse, I'll release them. If it's a hard rain, I won't release them. And if it's high winds, I've released them in close to 30-mile-an-hour winds close to home. And they don't do a lot of circling then. They'll go up and kind of zigzag and go straight home. And I train them in bad weather. I train my birds in rain and wind and all that. So it's not a surprise to them, if I get somewhere and it starts to rain a little bit. People really want the release, so I'm still able to do it.
That's good.
But I do keep their safety in mind at, first at all times. And so if I feel like it's going to hurt the birds or I'm going to lose them, I don't do it. And everybody understands that,
Tell me what the blessing of the animal ceremony is. Since you were there,
yes.
and I don't know what that is.
Every year, it's around autumn. It's like last of September, 1st of October, the church has a blessing of the animals, and it's from St. Francis of Assisi. And they do it, it's around October 4th. And the priest will come out, and they'll usually do them outside because there's a lot of animals, a lot of pets. You wouldn't believe some of the things you see brought out to the priest to be blessed. And he'll say a blessing and sprinkle some holy water on them and send them on their way. And most of us pet owners, and we are hopeful that there's a blessing on our animals.
I mean, that's great.
It is. It's a lot of fun. And the kids come out, and, there's anything from hamsters and mice and snakes and hedgehogs and squirrels and all the way to your cat and dog. And it's really neat to see.
Good. And that's a once-a-year event?
It is, every autumn.
I thought it was. Now, Paul, is there a dove release network or parent organization that you're part of?
There is. National White Dove Release Society. I'm a member of that group, and we communicate through emails and on our website, and we get discounts at some of the stores and things like that. And we talk about the business, and if you have any questions and whatnot, you can ask them. And there's a lot of people that come on that are beginners, and they learn a lot on that website.
You do so many things. How in the world, Paul, do you fit this in?
Well, I've been doing the birds for so long, it's just a lifestyle for me. And the birds, they take care of themselves. I feed and water them every day, and I do have to medicate them. They have a program they're on, and twice a year I give them vaccinations, and my little boy helps me with that and keeping them healthy. And once you raise them up healthy and give them a balanced diet, they're hardy. They stay healthy and strong. And
do they see a vet?
No, I am the vet they see.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you took birds to a veterinarian or if there was some sort of
No,
specific...
I've never had a reason to. I've never had one that sick that I had to take. Usually they're like any other animal. They'll get a cold. They just have days they're feeling down. And I'm pretty good with them. I can look at them and tell what's going on, and I can medicate them properly. Very rarely do I get anything. I keep them top shape.
We have about a minute, Paul.
Oh, wow.
Time goes by very fast. I just want to ask you one thing. Can you develop a relationship with birds like you do with a cat and a dog?
Yes, my birds, when they see me, they go crazy because they associate me with food. And I can actually call them in when they're flying. I whistle the same way when I feed them. So when I go out there, they'll come in if I want them to come in if they're hungry. Now, if you were to come over, they would just be crazy because they don't know you.
Right.
And it's just like a dog, would bark its head off if a stranger comes in the yard, and they're the same way.
That's really neat. And if somebody is interested in contacting you,
right.
You have a website.
Yes,
Are you in the phone book, too?
I'm not in the phone book.
Okay.
Celestialdoves.com is the easiest way, and it has my contact numbers on there, and it has all the packages and the prices. And we're not limited to what's on the website. Like I said, if you have anything in mind, just call. If you don't know, but you like something, we'll sit down and talk about it.
Well, Paul, I thank you so much for being my guest again. I mean, I'm sure there are other things for other programs that you do.
Right.
We will get you back again.
All right. Thank you for having me.
I hope you all enjoyed this show and all the things that Paul does. There are a lot of things about these birds that I had no idea about until I started doing research for this show. Hope you will tune in for next show. It's going to be Dr. Andrews talking about total joint replacement, which is something to interest everybody.
Right.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.